You can't say that. With your host, Amanda Carey, and her special guest, Alex Sanchez, Michael Mann, Natasha Harris, and Jordan Laughlin.
Hi, and welcome to another production of You Can't Say That. I'm your host, Amanda Carey, and today's topic is political correctness and internet hate mobs. Political correctness is kind of like one of those things from the 90s that we really wish had gone away in the 90s, kind of like ICP. We really aren't big on political correctness, and people always seem to fight about what political correctness is. We've got people like Donald Trump, who anytime they get caught saying something that's not happy or friendly to people, they say, it's being too politically correct. Then you have people on the left who complain about political correctness going too far. So we really have to find out, is there political correctness, and is it a problem? And is there a difference between what political correctness is and what the other people are talking about? Another issue that comes up with political correctness are internet hate mobs. People have been run off the internet. They've been run off Twitter. They've been run off Facebook. People have lost jobs because they're not politically correct. So today, that's what we're going to talk about with our guests here on You Can't Say That. We'd like to introduce all of our new hosts, not hosts, guests. I'm the host.
I'm the new host.
I'm drinking. So let's start it off with Alex Sanchez. We've got Natasha Harris, Michael Mann, and Jordan Laughlin, everybody. So we're going to start this off. Well, go ahead, you can applaud.
I did. It was just a reflex.
Go ahead. Go.
It was the everybody that did it, I think.
It's fine. We don't have an audience, and it's kind of dead air there.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we're going to start off with the first question right up front. Since we're all comedians and we all perform locally, well, I want to talk about political correctness in comedy. Like Jerry Seinfeld stopped doing shows in college campuses because he says college kids are too politically correct these days. And just a week or two ago, Mel Brooks said that, political correctness is killing comedy, which kind of surprised me because I thought he was dead.
That's what I was like, the Mel Brooks?
Yeah, Mel Brooks,
Yes.
I thought he was dead.
He's at least 121.
Yeah,
for sure,
easily. Which, makes that whole bit about the 2,000-year-old man that much funnier.
He is finally
there.
He's still living off the funds off the Men in Tights movie.
Yeah, that's what he's
in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, before we start reviewing, his IMDb page. So
Mel
what?
Brooks dead and loving it. Sorry.
Right.
That was the last one.
That's fine.
That's the last one.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. He actually took a play about making a play and made it a play. Anyway,
Very meta.
but yeah, with
Original
political
fan
correctness in
comedy.
comedy, have you guys ever encountered people complaining about political correctness in comedy? Do you think that comedy can be politically correct and funny, or is it actually killing comedy?
I can jump on this in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like political correctness as a term isn't really what anybody's going for, because political correctness just sort of means making something more palatable so that it is easier to market. There's a difference between that and just being compassionate because you know people who have gone through stuff before.
So you're talking about being compassionate versus being polite.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Politeness is sort of morally neutral.
Right.
What you're talking about here is, did I hurt your feelings?
Right.
Yeah, and it's the same. Some of the responsibility falls on the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Know who you're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to see, Jeff Foxworthy, you're going to get
Shitty comedy?
Shitty comedy.
Yeah.
But you're also, chances are, you're not going to be that offended.
Sure.
But if you go to see Louis C.K.
Right.
or a Doug Stanhope,
Right.
and if you're offended at a Stanhope show,
Mhm.
you're an asshole for going to a Stanhope show.
Sure.
That's
Sure.
true.
Now be down with necrophilia.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But yeah,
That's not one of my fetishes.
But that's that's the difference. Like, making fun of necrophilia is like necrophiliacs are agreed upon bad people. Like,
Well, it's the lack of consent.
yeah.
I've never had an issue with being politically correct, and I
No.
also don't have a filter. I believe that as a comic, to be a good comic, you have to have the ability to deliver this information in a way that it can be received and funny.
Mhm.
Just like you can't go up. You know, there was a time when you couldn't talk about Jesus. We watched a video today where like a dude was like, "Do you believe Jesus is this?" And the dude was like cussing, like, "Fuck, what the fuck are you talking about?" Like he was visibly upset because the dude said that Jesus didn't exist. And like he was cussing and he was angry, he was trying to fight him. So there was a point where that wasn't, you probably shouldn't bring that up on stage. Well, we're not at that point anymore. And people can deliver that information in a way that is, you know, funny. I don't think it's necessarily being politically correct. I believe it is just being a good comic.
Yeah. I've had this talk with other comics about they're trying to please everybody in the audience. And I know our goal as comics is to please everybody in the audience.
I'm just trying to please all the people that can get me a TV show.
It's not going to happen. You are not going to please everybody in the audience. Get that out of your head.
Well, I think one of the things that comes up when people talk about political correctness in comedy is sort of the issue of like going too far with things. You know, like white people not being able to, you know, do like a black voice, or you know, like you can't do rape jokes, that kind of stuff. And is there really a point where like being offensive? Because I mean, as a comedian, unless you are just the most bland comedian, or you're really good at not being offensive but funny, you're going to offend someone.
Well, okay, here's what I would say to both of you guys' points. And it does, I mean, the question does fall on whether you're an audience member or whether you're a performer. But as a performer, and I don't know if you guys would agree, I think it's all about what you consider comedy a tool for. If you're just going out to please audiences, then yeah, you would worry about something like that. But if you're being offensive in order to get a point across, and I'm not even necessarily saying, you know, going up and being George Carlin and, you know, preaching your beliefs or what have you, but, you know, if you're just, say, trying to raise awareness and you have to be offensive to do that, then political correctness kind of goes out the window because your message is going to be more important. As a performer.
Well, as long as you know who your target is.
Yeah.
Like, as long
And
as
be
you're
funny
not
about it.
right. Yeah, you can't. Because if someone's already like having a tough time, it's not funny to make fun of that person.
Yeah.
Right. You know, it's that whole thing about like punching down. They say that comedians, you can't punch down, which, you know, it kind of seems weird to me that we're not allowed to punch down when sometimes, you know, as a white comedian, there might be something that's kind of funny about black culture. It's something that I find odd that I want to make fun of. You know, it's not meant to be malicious. It's just meant to be something weird because we're people. This is something that people and black people as a culture do, and I want to make fun of it. You know, and you know, we're not talking about fried chicken and watermelon here. Because I mean, everybody knows fried chicken and watermelon is just good to eat.
Yeah,
so,
it's just a summertime picnic.
But it's not. It's not even because if you're speaking to the audience that you are intending to speak to, so if you want to talk about something that's funny that you find in the black culture that's funny, that's knowing your audience. Because if you go, especially in this climate, if you go to a black club and you drop that joke, it's going to be an issue. But if you go to a white club and you drop that joke, it's not going to be an issue. So you kind of have to know the climate that you're in. I think that maybe before this, because I've heard plenty of, you know, black people talking in movies, and you know, I've heard plenty of those jokes. And even in, you know, in this climate, you could probably pull off something as light as that. But it depends. If you start talking about chicken and watermelon, it's going to be some shit. So, but I go to white shows and talk about white people all the time, and because I want to know shit. Like I want to know what kind of music are y'all having sex to, because I don't understand how y'all have that many songs and no rhythm. Like we know there's two options for sex. You either gonna have R&B or it's gonna be gangster. Like that's all it's gonna be.
No, the thing about banjos is you always think about getting raped by hillbillies when you listen to banjos. That's
you can't fuck to banjos. Those are the rules.
No, I have fucked to trance music before, but that's because I was just really high.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that was before 2001.
Really like trap and you know and stuff like that. I can't, you know, you can't fuck with that because it's too slow and you know it's just not good for you.
What I've been hearing a lot of lately is, and especially other comics, older comics, one saying you can't say that, you have to speak to your truth. No, you gotta speak to your truth. You can't talk about that if you haven't gone through that. Well, then that's fine, then I don't wanna hear a murder joke unless you kill somebody. You know? That, you know, it's the same damn thing. You gotta be able to talk about things that make you uncomfortable. Now, I'm not saying go out there.
But there's a difference between talking about things that make people uncomfortable. Like you talk about being handicapped on stage a lot.
Maybe 5 minutes of a
6-minute set. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to agree. Somewhere like your best jokes are handicapped.
And I mean, some of my best stuff are about me.
Right.
But I mean, like, there's a difference between making the audience uncomfortable, and trust me, I love the uncomfortable laughter.
Yeah.
That's great stuff. But I mean, there's a difference between, making them comfortable, slightly offending them, and just being offensive.
Well, and that's, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, that's fine.
But this is something that I see.
No, the show about sexism was last week.
Everything I always hear about, you can't say that. The statement always starts with, "This open micer said this."
Well, open mic.
Right.
Well, yeah, but and those are the cats that are seeing the ones like, God, don't give them no more stage time. Bar them from this.
Yeah.
No, this is not a time for that. Open
This is
mics
when they're supposed to learn.
Yeah.
Exactly. Open mics are kind of like a gym.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
you have to, and instead of talking to them, say, hey, listen, why don't you try it a different way, because this right here is not going to get you booked.
Yeah.
Other than, but what I'm seeing is, and this is not something I've seen in Oklahoma per se, but a bunch of different comedy communities, ban him from the open mic. He did nothing but 3 minutes on rape jokes, and it was hateful. And if people did that to me when I started doing comedy, I would be, working at a 7-Eleven right now doing nothing.
Yeah.
And that is something that it pisses me off, because I think it's damaging to the community, because there's a lot of these younger comics with time could be a really important voice.
Well, yeah, and like even to that end, sometimes it's the most offensive stuff initially that you get the best laughs off of. Like for instance, well, I mean, you gotta work into it. But like for instance, I was at ICE, which is a black venue, and I went up, and my very first premise that I went up with was, it pisses me off about black women, and everybody lost. They were about to throw me out of the venue.
Yeah.
They were about to throw me out of the venue. But the punchline was basically that black women have really, really, really voluptuous curves.
Yeah.
And so it went from them screaming at me to them giving me something short of a standing ovation.
Right.
So it's
baiting and switching.
Yeah.
And what you do, what you triggered, all right? I mean, I used to do a joke. I don't do rape jokes. They just seem forced.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give him that. That's
But you
funny.
know what?
That's funny.
But
That's
I
funny.
said that joke.
I think we found the one funny rape joke.
Right.
I
But that's the thing.
said that
I've been doing
joke
it for 200 years.
Yeah.
And that's how long you need to be doing it before you can nail it.
Right.
I did that show that was my opening joke at the Speakeasy, and I walked the table of about 10 women.
Yeah,
sure.
Not because what they did is they just heard the word rape. Shut down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
But it's also something that does happen to people.
It does,
Yeah, it
but
does.
see,
Like,
like a word or something.
Because so maybe if the things that you want to talk about were being addressed, and people felt like they had a support system, like maybe if people were actually going after people who were raping people instead of people being raped and having to sit in their shit,
Yeah.
maybe you wouldn't be so easily triggered.
right.
So maybe if you felt like society supported you and you heard a rape joke, you'd be like, okay, yeah, that's funny because my guy actually went to jail versus got a promotion.
Well, yeah, I told a rape joke once where in the punchline of the joke, I got gang raped in a prison.
Yeah.
It wasn't about me raping. And it was actually sort of a pedophilia.
Yeah, I've got my rape joke is that I used to have such a drinking problem. I'm the only person I know that's ever been thrown out of a frat party for being too drunk.
Yeah.
And the punchline is that you got to be a member to commit date rape around here. Okay.
Right.
But so we kind of hit a point where I can bring up the next question is, which with political correctness, there is a certain point to it where it's trying to raise awareness, because that's part of what we do whenever we get political or start talking about social issues. And, political correctness started off back in the 90s as a way to kind of raise people's awareness, get them woke. kind of thing. Which, by the way, that word's worn out. Pick a new one. Woke is worn out. I'm sorry.
I would much rather be asleep.
Yeah. But just got to do this one quick joke. If Chewbacca was politically correct, he'd be a wokey. All right. So.
Yeah, holding on to that one.
Yeah.
Holding on to it.
I'm gonna get that one to land. But so is there so when it comes to political correctness and trying to be politically active and that kind of stuff, to me it seems like there's a point where it can go too far. I think a good example of it is because I deal with this stuff all the time online because I don't have a life and go outside, so everything for me is online.
You have such a lovely complexion.
Look, that's why I'm not going to be wrinkled until I'm 60 because no sun, but also why I have a vitamin D deficiency. So we have a situation where there was actually a Vietnamese kid, not Vietnamese, not born in Vietnam, not raised in Vietnam, in America, born and raised in America, but he's Vietnamese, and he got upset because his college campus cafeteria started serving a banh mi sandwich, but their version of a banh mi sandwich. It's a Vietnamese sandwich. He was saying it's cultural appropriation and that kind of stuff. But the problem is with the banh mi sandwich, it's on a French baguette. It was actually because the French colonized Vietnam and the Vietnamese, said, hey, let's put our meats and our vegetables and stuff like that on there and put it on a French baguette and make a sandwich. So a banh mi sandwich is like cultural fusion. Mm-hmm. Then you've got another situation where they were doing an art show about a 19th century French impressionist, and he had a big love for Japanese kimonos, so he painted a lot of Japanese kimono stuff. And they did a show and they had women in Japanese kimonos. People showed up and complained about the women wearing kimonos. The Japanese ambassador actually, when he was made aware of the issue, was like, are you guys kidding me? I mean, that kind of thing. So is there a point really where you think that political correctness can go too far?
Yeah, you just gave two examples.
Yeah, I was going to say, those are really, really extreme.
Come on.
We do have those really extreme politically correct people.
You have really extreme people, period.
Yeah.
So comedy is not exempt of that.
But
They're extreme regardless.
The internet gave everybody a voice.
Oh, yeah.
And 90% of them.
And safety. It gave them voice and safety.
Oh, yeah. Internet calls. There's nothing worse. And I think you gotta go to break.
Oh, we're going to hit a break real quick. We'll be right back in just a second, everybody.
Can you see it? 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 Because I can see it. CTV Weekly. Make sure you check us out every Thursday at 7 p.m. We want to see ya.
Oh shit, we're back. Okay, hey everybody. We were talking about political correctness.
I'm gonna steal that $5.
No, you're not.
You're gonna forget about it.
No, I'm not.
No, you're gonna forget about it.
I'm not. It's in my purse.
Damn it. All right.
So we were talking about going too far with political correctness, and being woke and all that stuff. And there really does seem to be a point where it goes too far. And just really, the point for me about going too far with political correctness is that it ends up actually taking the power out when you're actually doing call-outs. So for me,
I don't agree with that.
Really?
No, I don't agree with it because I wouldn't let what people are doing affect. Well, I mean, if you spend your energy being concerned about the people who are upset because of, people wearing kimonos, that's ridiculous. You're ridiculous, and I'm not going to give you my energy. Mm-hmm. But I understand that, some people are, but you have to realize that people are always, there is a certain group of people who are always looking for a reason to be mad. Always. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, if you're doing it, I don't like it, and I'm going to fucking be mad about it. And now I can go on the internet and tell everybody how I hate you for this thing that you're doing because it's bothering my feelings. So now you have this, that's what the climate has turned into. So these are the same people they always were. We just have to pay attention to, we're just choosing to pay attention to it now.
Yeah.
Because I believe political correctness belongs in politics.
Yeah, I mean, there is a point where, there is a certain element to political correctness that I do agree with. There is a point to calling people out when they do this.
I think you should just be nice.
Yeah.
Like, can't you just be nice to people? Like, I mostly think that if you just mind your goddamn business, it wouldn't be an issue.
Right.
Seriously, if you just minded your fucking business and let people who want to walk around with dresses and beards, leave them the fuck alone. Let people kiss in public if they have the same sexual parts. Like, mind your damn business. Let black people sag if that's what they want to do. That is not bothering you at all. You just mad, and now I have to know you mad because you mad. Like, just leave people the fuck alone.
And you're not even gonna know that I'm mad
until they get home.
Right. You're gonna read about it later.
Right.
Yeah. You see, for me, what it is with the internet, these people, like you said, these people have always existed, and they were just that one person out there being angry all the time, and everybody else was like, "Shut the fuck up, go home."
Right.
Now the internet has allowed them to find themselves, and now
they have friends.
A coalition.
They're a coalition. Yes.
And now they can get 10,000 signatures on a petition that normally they would only have 4 because they're not leaving the fucking house.
Right.
Now they got 10,000 people that
Just get the mailman.
And some of the most angry, vicious posts I've seen are from these woke people.
Right.
The woke people are going, "You're human garbage." I've heard the term human garbage thrown out at people.
Have black people been telling you that? Because we don't use that shit.
No, that's all white people. That is all white people.
Now, this is
my God.
normally it's a 20-year-old white chick named Jessica with a blog who's never suffered from any injustice in her entire fucking life,
And who's riding
talking
around
about
the car her parents paid
injustice.
for.
I am disabled, and I don't give a shit. But the people who get offended for you should talk. They're able-bodied.
Yeah.
We don't need you to defend us.
Well,
and as a black woman, I don't think you need me to defend you.
I kind of do.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like.
No, I need him to defend me.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, someone yelling out the N-word and
Right.
back up, yes, I guess.
No, I'm not even saying like that. I don't. I don't need you to defend me.
What she's talking about is, like she wants, when a cop shoots an unarmed black guy, she wants you to speak up as well.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't need somebody to go on the internet and be like, well, in my place.
But I wouldn't call that political correctness.
No.
That's when.
I mean, it's like raising awareness.
That's kind of like where we're at right now, is that we have the difference between people that, like, I'll post stuff, about, Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, because I agree with Black Lives Matter. But then you have those kind of people that they turn it into, y'all guys know what virtue signaling is, right?
I don't.
Okay, basically, when a peacock spreads its feathers because it wants to fuck, that's what these people are doing. They're showing off how woke they are. They're the ones that are the ones putting out the petitions. They're the white people that are making it all, everything about Black Lives Matter. They're the ones
trying to gain celebrity.
Yeah, because it really does seem to me now
they've always existed as well.
Basically, they are the type of people that are trying to actually make a living off this. They want popularity, being woke and stuff like that, and so they have to keep going to extremes to keep doing this kind of stuff.
What do you lose from that, though?
I think it takes away from the real message of it.
Well, I mean, but that's gonna. There's always gonna be people sprinkling sugar on, fucking on a peach cobbler.
Yeah,
There's always gonna be people trying to do fucking extra, like.
Good stuff, but trying to make.
Is that where the word came from? Is that why everybody's using extra now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, figured it out.
There's always gonna be people fucking doing something extra. There's always gonna be people who are going to take your message and turn it into about them. Just like the same thing with Kaepernick. When it was just Kaepernick kneeling, it had a point. We were doing it because, police brutality and the laws are not the same. And then Trump said something people didn't like, and now all of a sudden, everybody sees it in their mind. And now it's a good time to kneel. And that's some bullshit, because you weren't kneeling when it was just about us.
Right.
You were kneeling because he called your mom a bitch. And that's childish, and it's not the same. So you're always going to have people who are going to jump on that bandwagon when they see something going on to be popular. You're going to have your Ray Lewis's. You're going to have those people. And even on our side, which is much more detrimental, because people, the right, they look at those black people and they're like, look at this, like Sheriff Joe Clark. Ain't that his name? They look at this guy and his fake fucking memorabilia, his fake military shit. And they look at him and he's always like standing with his neck is all straight and shit and for nothing. Like you went to school, you worked in McDonald's just like everybody else. Like stop acting like you're a major somewhere. Like, but that's what they do. They latch onto those people and they're like, this guy right here is how all the black people should be.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
No, because it's a defense mechanism.
Right.
It's basically the shield that they use, in order to be able to get away with their shit.
Right. Because now the issue is that, and it's not the issue now. It's what it's always been. So now people are kneeling and white people are assaulting black people who are kneeling, which is what they've always done. They're throwing shit
like literally? Or,
yes, they're literally assaulting them. They're assaulting people who are kneeling, who are not doing anything illegal, but they are coming up and they're pouring drinks on them and they're starting fights with them because that's what white people do.
Yeah.
So
we do.
Like that's where we are.
We
you know.
And I totally agree with you. And Amanda can speak for this because she has a military background. I'm a military brat. My entire family's always been military. I would have went, but I'm crippled. But the kneeling thing, that was a very specific protest. It was It was
very specific.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, they turned it into hate against the flag. I'm like, you don't even know what the fuck you were talking about.
But people are telling them, but they don't care. Like nobody has said we're doing this because we hate the flag and we hate America. No, we literally are yelling it. We're writing it on shit. They don't care.
When Kaepernick first started doing it, he actually sat down with like an ex-Navy SEAL and said, "How can I do this and not be offensive to everybody?" And he actually, the Navy SEAL, take a knee.
The first interview Kaepernick did. After that in particular game, he explained exactly what the protest was about.
Right.
It's not fucking brain surgery.
Yeah.
But this speaks to the piece, mob mentality.
Yeah.
It just takes a spark. It changes. It's like a giant game of fucking telephone.
Yeah, it's more agitation, but it ends up agitating in the wrong way.
Right.
My mother's pissed off about it. And my mom's ex-military. I said, why are you pissed? Well, he's disrespecting the flag. I said, you know what he's protesting about? Apparently he hates this country. No, we don't know what that is. I said, no, that's not.
You hates the country. See, my thing is,
even if he does, who cares?
Yes.
Who cares?
Look, can you pick up a receiver 40 yards down the field? That's all the shit that matters,
Right.
It's weird. Blind loyalty. It's
not because it's not about that.
No, it's not about that. Because I'll be honest. When Kaepernick first started doing that kind of stuff, I was a bit offended that he was kneeling during the national anthem because I am ex-military and I love my country. But part of the reason that I joined the military and part of the reason that I love my country is because it allows him to do that kind of shit.
Right.
And my offense doesn't matter. Because the thing that offends him is far more important than me, waving a flag and all that kind of shit.
No way.
And this is the truth. The players never came out onto the field for the anthem.
It was fun. It's patriotism.
I knew that before the meme. Before I was like, this is fucking easy to figure out. I just Google it when they started doing it. It's like in God We Trust. Put in the national anthem until the 50s.
Yeah, they put it there to communists.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they put it in there to scare the commies because it's sort of the way you spot a commie. It's like whenever you're buying weed, you got to ask the cop if he's a narc. Are you really a cop? Are you a commie? Say the pledge. That kind of shit.
But and this speaks to the mob mentality of everything, especially in entertainment. God damn, it's bad.
I think it's an entertainment for you guys because you're just kind of like, it's not your life.
Yeah.
Like it's our lives. We are literally, there is no safe place for us.
Yeah.
Like there's no. I could just be walking and someone can decide that because I'm black and I'm on their nerves that, like those brothers that lured that young black football player and they killed him and did all this stuff. Like these kids are literally just like, when I had Virgil and Virgil was in high school, Virgil was not allowed to date white girls. Not because I don't like white people, I don't like white girls' fathers.
Yeah.
And I am not going to allow for him to think that he has a girlfriend and her dad shoot my kid and I blow the whole goddamn house up.
Oh yeah.
So he was not allowed to date white girls when he was in high school. Period. It was not an option.
It's only out of safety purposes.
Yeah. Right. It was not an option. Like I love Virgil wasn't allowed to date anybody because I'm crazy. But he really, like, he knew I was serious about, you are not allowed to date a white girl. You don't pretend she's your girlfriend. You don't talk to her too long.
Because it's a safety thing. Because
Right.
God, I mean, being from Mississippi, I know all about Emmett Till. I mean, all he did was like say hi to a white woman, and the next thing you know, they're stringing up a 14-year-old boy.
And
That kind of
she
stuff.
lied.
That's the 50s, and they still, yeah, you're not going to get the whole Klan showing up to lynch you now, but I mean, it's still going to give you all sorts of shit.
on the
And you
internet.
know that
Yeah.
dad's got a gun.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That dad's got a gun, and it is scary.
yeah. I mean,
But you have to, having to explain that to him.
Mhm.
Having to explain to him. And he, you know, as he went through high school, he dealt with plenty of instances where I had to go up to the school because he was not being treated fairly.
Mhm.
Once a white girl came up to him and slapped him, and they had her on camera slapping him. And I was out of town. Virgil didn't tell me until I got back. When I got back, he told me that, you know, they called her into the office and blah, 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 and, you know, she got to go home. Like, well, she got to go back to class.
Mhm.
I said, oh,
No, yeah.
no. So I had to call up to the school and show my whole ass, because if my kid, Virgil, had slapped her, you would have called the police.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine trying to tell a kid that, like, you're supposed to love everyone, and, like, this is, you know, you have to navigate through this world.
While trying to feed him the hard truths.
Right.
Yeah, because he's not safe. Not just because people don't like you, but they cannot like you. They can take your life and they can still go home. Like, the law doesn't apply to them. The rules don't apply to them. They will always apply to you. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how far you run. If I don't care how many tackles you break. None of that. The rules will always apply to you. There is no leeway. None. So having to raise our kids in that, with that dual, you know, life lesson, it's tiring. You know, you don't. I want to give him freedom. I want him to go out. You know, I want him to go out and do things, but I worry when he doesn't come home. The police showed up on my door once, and they were like, "Is this Virgil Harris's house?" I was like, "Yes. Where is he?" And he was like, "I don't know. I found his wallet in the parking lot."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, thank you."
Yeah, thank you for scaring the shit out of me.
Right.
Right.
As I'm talking through the crack in the door, like, in case you feel frisky and want to kick it down and sprinkle some crack on me.
So this kind of brings up something I want to talk about with political correctness and internet hate bombs and that kind of stuff. Talking about purity police. You know, where you have to meet certain criteria to be, you know, the right way. You know, to be properly woke. And they kind of get the fuck out of hand.
I swear I'm getting more and more information about this whole idea of being woke now than I've ever heard before.
It's a term I didn't
Spend
even know
about-
until last week.
Get a Twitter account.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's crazy.
It's easy.
But like with purity police, okay. So, for example, in my community, Caitlyn Jenner, you know, when she came out, everybody was like, ah, shit, it's Caitlyn Jenner. Because, well, first of all, nobody likes the Kardashians. Nobody. Unless you want to get money out of them.
They're such fantastic people.
Yeah.
They do so much for the community at large and everything.
But I mean, so she comes out, and of course, she spent 65 years as like a conservative white dude. Now she's been thrust into the spotlight as like the most wealthy, most well-known transgender woman. And
she's still pretty much a
Yeah.
conservative white guy.
but you know, as she's gone along, you know, and Donald Trump has done all this fucked up stuff to us, you know, just like, oh, I'm the best friends of gay people. Like, no, you ain't. No, you ain't.
No, sir.
He's like done all this stuff to like revoke all our rights, and now she's starting to speak up, and people are like, oh, where, you know, like now.
Because the shit's not new. He's not saying anything new. He's not doing anything new. Like,
But
maybe a little bit more in your face.
Yeah.
They used to do less sugar, less
not
sugar.
even
trouble.
that much. Right. I'm like,
but with like purity policing, I mean, like there comes to be a point where like, if you're not the right kind of transgender person, or you're not the right kind of black person, or you're not the right kind of Hispanic person, or gay person, you don't agree with this entire mindset, or have these different specific kinds of thoughts. Like with me being a member of the LGBT community, I catch a lot of shit because I'm not a communist, because that's where a lot of them are starting to go. They're starting to be like literally communist, socialist types, you know, where everything intersects, and, you know, capitalism keeps, you know, gay people down, and it's kind of like, no, it doesn't. You know, and so people have written blogs about me because I'm the wrong. And
Oh, you popular.
oh yeah. You know, when you have
blog about me.
you have not arrived as a person in the public sphere until people hate you. That's the you are not famous. You are not don't have a voice.
You didn't have to write a letter about me though. Like that's
a lot.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Well, how much do you want fame?
Like,
If you go catch.
you mean these titties ain't enough? Like this is bullshit.
Yeah, it's for real.
Well, the kicker
They
about,
told me I could have it all.
the kicker you're saying about purity police, like you're not the right kind of gay person, you're not right. Like, generally, I mean, you're not trying to be these cats' friends, you know what I mean? So, I mean, if someone says I'm not the right kind of cripple,
First of all, that would tickle the shit out of me.
Yeah.
But also, you're not running for president of Cripple.
You're absolutely right. I'm an entertainer that would love to have a crippled president.
Yeah.
There'd be a ton of material.
FDR.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Shut up.
You just gave him.
Well, the thing is, FDR had to run as a secret cripple for like his first 3 terms.
Yeah. We're gonna have to take a break real quick. We'll be right back.
Oh, say, can you see? That's what they want us to believe in so blindly. But we got to take a stance and start talking about the truth and the facts. So, let's chat. Race Talks with Britannia. Race Talks with Britannia. Yeah, Race Talks with Britannia.
So, that brings us to the end of the show. Let's go around and let's do all our little plugs.
Okay.
So, Alex, what do you want to plug today?
I'd like to plug the Praise Down. It's my podcast about Christian music that I do with Keith Huffman.
Nice.
It's
Wow.
Yeah, dude, it is.
I know it is lit.
You would not believe. Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's just a couple of doofuses who are not in the church anymore talking about the music we used to listen to when we were 12. Yeah. I couldn't swim after 40 days. Okay. That song specifically is an example of something I really hate, which is about Christian music, which is putting acoustic guitar into an ostensibly rock song. You don't have to.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. I'm a Dave Matthews fan, but I will fight you on that. Katasha, what do you want to plug?
Gosh, all kinds of stuff. I have a show on the 19th. Somewhere.
Anything play after that?
I got lots of stuff. I have a bondage class in the second week in November, I believe.
Where's this at?
Oh, they're private classes, so they're
Okay.
usually at my house.
Where do you live?
I'll get you the information. But you can check out, keep on top of it at expressionoverrepression.com. And check my Facebook. It's Katasha. It's not that many of us, so it won't be that difficult to find for the flyers.
We'll spell it in the credits.
Yeah, you're going to need that. But yeah, that's about it. Not too much.
What about you, Mike?
I'm in Dewey, Oklahoma on the 28th. That's the show.
Okay.
At the Heritage Theater.
So the reason to go to Dewey.
They always screw you over. It's a theater and pub.
Yeah.
It's a pub.
That means it's a bar with lights.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bar with colored lights.
Exactly, yeah.
At least you're not performing next to a stripper pole.
Oh my god, that's the best venue in the world.
I would fucking pay for that.
Jordan, what have you got coming up?
The show Carpenter Square beginning of November, and other than that, just follow me on Instagram at lofty_lanes.
Cool. Political correctness has gotten to the point where it's going a little too far. And part of the problem is that people have an idea that political correctness is all one thing, but it's not. See, political correctness is 2 different things. There's the kind of political correctness that people like Donald Trump complain about whenever they're called out for being racist, sexist, homophobic, and so they scream about political correctness. And you've got other people that complain about political correctness, like me, who are basically trying to say, no, I don't think like you. I'm not offended by this. I'm not upset by this. And so we have no other way to call it but political correctness, so we end up getting in trouble because we're talking about political correctness. What we're really talking about is virtue correctness, our value correctness. And that's where we need to start realizing that political correctness is a shitty term to use anyway. Because there's two different things that are going on here. And on top of that, some of you guys just need to lighten up. Nobody cares that you're woke. Nobody cares that you're offended by this. Because of being offended and $1.50 gets you something off of the dollar menu. You actually got to bring something to the table. You've got to explain why you're offended. You've got to explain how people can get better because you're offended. And honestly, sometimes you're just an asshole guy. That's all I got to say about this. Catch us next time when we will be talking about weed. I'm Amanda Carey. I'm your host. You can follow me at Amanda_Carey on Twitter. Weed. On drugs, man.
We're going to be talking jazz cigarettes.
We'll catch you later.